Hey everybody, it is Alex O'Neill, and I'm very excited to be joined by OkBeast.com's very own Moises Taveras. We are talking about the Messenger.
The DLC specifically,
yes,
Picnic Panic.
The DLC, Picnic Panic. I always forget what it's called.
Yeah, I also sort of forgot.
You brought it though. You brought the goods today, Moises.
I got to present something.
I sat down and I saw I played, beat, and completed the first level of Picnic Panic, which is, for folks who have not played the Messenger, it is just this alternate timeline, kind of more straightforward, free expansions coming out hopefully this summer. And I am super excited about it. The idea is just it's more Messenger, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And
although they're obviously from the opening level, they're kind of trying to introduce a little more.
Yeah.
There were sort of segments of the original game that played kind of like
similarly,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, there were the sequences with Manfred the Dragon.
Yeah, Manfred the Dragon.
Yeah,
Shout out.
Manfred the Butler the Dragon.
Yes.
It's similar sort of to that, but it also seems very insistent on being a more direct homage to that, which is the Messenger's kind of thing. I really loved the Messenger last year. I thought it was a great game. I thought it spoke to people who wanted to play games like that, but because of, I kind of want to say, data design are much harder and not as accessible, and so the Messenger decided to tweak things. It decided to make the writing more approachable. It decided to not take itself too seriously, and by not taking itself too seriously, it sort of allowed itself to branch out beyond just being a straight send-up of classic games, and I think that really it fostered it a lot of goodwill and got it the reception that it needed, and Picnic Panic sort of seems to very smartly be capitalizing on that.
Yeah, what's great was I saw it with Jarrett Green, who editor at IP, and we asked of course, hey, where is this more tropical idea coming from? And his thing was, I don't know if you heard about the winter in Quebec, but it was negative 40 degrees Celsius. So they're working hard on this thing, and they're like, man, wouldn't it be nice if we were just in a wonderful tropical island? So part of this DLC is that, and it's kind of also just taking the Messenger to a totally new location. It's a little bit more jolly, a little bit more upbeat. And what's cool is I got to see pretty much a lot of later stuff, and I don't want to necessarily ruin anything for anyone, even though Thierry, the director of the game, straight up just spoiled the entire thing for me.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, I'm sorry. And I was like, again. But I'll to allude and not necessarily line everything up for you, it is very tropical in the 8-bit sense, and then in the 16-bit version of it, it is like a typhoon happening. And it's very cool. It has a cool aesthetic. When you go into the shopkeeper's shop on the island that you're going to, it's totally redesigned. It looks kind of like a cabin or like a straw house on a beach. It's very jolly. They committed so hard to this aesthetic, and I love it.
Yeah, which is good because they're very good at striking tones and sticking by them.
Yeah.
I didn't quite get the full preview that you apparently did.
I asked for it though, and I was like, give me more. And he
But no,
crushed
it. One of my favorite characters from the original game shows up at the beginning of the DLC. If I'm getting his name right, it's Ruxton, he wants to be like an evil, menacing wizard, but he's actually a softie, and it's actually his staff that has an evil spirit in it. And so it's trying to make him look tall, and then it immediately takes away the stilts from him, and he's
standing on stilts. It's very good.
They seem to immediately fall back into the same rhythm. So I'm happy to see that. I really want to know about new characters that are possibly going to be there. I'd also love to see what they do with the existing characters that find themselves on the tropical island. I don't know if Ruxton is ferrying them all across on that skull-shaped boat, but if he is, it'd be apropos of that game.
To be clear, so the demo that you and I played was and I saw a later boss fight as well, but it was the opening section of the DLC where you go back to the village you start in this alternate timeline. You meet Ruxton, and because the little guys I forget the Warbles or something, these little folks that help build a kind of late game part of the Messenger up for you. You have to find and save. They've been kidnapped by an evil demon and taken to the island. So you've got to go to the island and save them. You are on the Skull Boat, or the Flying Skull Ship, which is the second boss in the original Messenger. Now it's a boat flying through the ocean toward the island, and you actually have to fight this giant octopus at the end. Mostly, what's cool about this level is it's a little bit more Battletoadsy. You mentioned that before we started. It kind of has that vibe. I would say a little bit more polished, a little bit easier to jump into.
That's the thing that they're so good at. They're so good at taking those previously sort of inaccessible experiences, and whether it be through their writing or through just honestly like smarter, more improved mechanics that obviously were developed over time.
Yeah.
Like those games, they feel like those games would play drastically better.
Yeah.
And like I would never play that Battletoads level. That Battletoads level would drive me up a wall.
Yeah, me too.
Playing this, I managed to clear like the actual vehicle sequence of it pretty easily in like 2 or 3 tries. But like I felt challenged enough that I wasn't like, oh, this is a total pushover. Like, oh, they steered way too clear of like the original directive.
Yeah.
And then like what really presented a challenge at the end was sort of the last section leading up to the boss fight, where they threw the whole book at you, really.
Yeah, dodging these rocks, but also trying to, you can use your attack, which is like a charge, to go through these wood boards. And if you combo that together, you essentially, the charge goes on forever until you either hit a rock or just don't hit anything for too long.
Which I would love to see if they do more vehicle sequences, because it's like almost literally cloud stepping, but just on a vehicle.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it makes sense. It feels like it's adapted what made the Messenger great. Boss fight was a total jerk.
Boss fight took me
a lot of tries.
5 tries.
Yeah, it was probably around there for me. But the thing I learned, like what's cool is the boss fight is you're fighting this octopus that's throwing tentacles at you, and it's shooting ink at you through its mouth, and you can deflect the ink back at it, and that's how it gets crunched up, and then you smash it to do damage. I found out later in the fight you can jump on the tentacles to do damage, but again, not a thing it told me. I just kind of organically figured it out, and it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, there's in like his last phase, he throws like 2 tentacles on like the 2 opposing lanes, and then there's a middle one that then you have to like get to, but like there's a tentacle here, and you sort of feel like, oh, what can I do? And so I just started mashing buttons until I eventually realized, oh, I can literally just land on the tentacle and it'll do damage.
Yeah.
It took me a while to realize that I was damaging the tentacles that were swinging at you. If you just like dashed into them, and it felt like a natural evolution of the fact that like you had to smash through all the boards to eventually move through the lanes at like quicker speeds.
Yeah.
And so like it felt like a good culmination of everything, which Messenger was very good at introducing elements, taking them to kind of extremes, and then throwing it all into a remix like at you, like especially in like that tower level.
Exactly. And we saw all this literally in one level that plays completely differently than anything you played.
So it seems like, while we played the Messenger before and like we were very surprised by the quality of it, very surprised by like where it went, this just feels like people who are very comfortable with what they do, they know that they do it very well, and sort of honestly expertly weaving it into a very good opening level. Yeah,
it's coming out soon, and it's going to be on all platforms. There's way more past, like if just a few levels past, but the levels that I got to see after the opening, very cool, very jolly. Just the aesthetic of it is great, and they're remixing enemies and everything. It seems like it's really cool if you like the Messenger. Like there is absolutely no reason not to play this. And what's cool is it's going to be something where you go into the shop in your game save on the Messenger and like look at a crystal ball and get taken to another dimension. It's not like another option from the menu. It's actually in the world, and I think that's really rad. Moises, you are at okbeast.com. Please follow Moises. Check out OkBeast. They're good friends of ours. Thank you for coming on, bud.
Thank you for having me.
More stuff from PAX. More stuff coming. Irrationalpassions.com is where it's all at. We will see you all later.
Click, click, click.